Greetings, beings, and people everywhere. Hello, hello, hello. We are so glad to be here with you on Are We Yet Asleep on Blog Talk Radio. You might have dozed off while listening to the preliminary music. If you're just dialing back in, welcome to tonight's show. I'm Miss J, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Oh, that would be me, Jesse all day and every day.
Hey, Jesse.
What's going on? What's good?
And I think Kim is sitting here, around here somewhere. Oh, maybe she hasn't dropped in yet. But we are here for our regular Thursday conversation. If you're just joining us, we did experience some technical difficulties this evening getting started, but everything is a go now. So every week we get together for our conversation to find out, ask the question, are you awake to the world around you, or are you walking around with your eyes wide shut? But tonight we're going to take a spin on it, and we're going to talk about what happens maybe when your eyes are shut. We're going to talk about the dreamscape and what happens in that part of your reality. I'm really excited about this topic tonight. I don't know if Jesse and Kim had a chance to check it out before the show, but we're inviting you to call in tonight to share maybe some dream experiences or nightmares that you had. If you got a theory about dreams, we want to hear from you. Our number is 347-989-8851. You can give us a call. Press 1 to join the conversation. We're also in our group on Facebook, AWYA. We have a closed group where we post links and connections from week to week about the conversations we discuss. And, of course, you can always check out WTLC Talk Radio on Facebook to find all the other programming that is on this wonderful channel. So I want to just dive right in to say, dreams. I remember as a child when I saw A Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time, when they told the girl that if you die in your dream, you die in real life. That scared the crap out of me, right? I don't know what age I would have been, maybe 13, I don't know, preteen, adolescent, something like that, but it really made an impression on me, so much so that I can recall now, like, forcing myself to wake up in a dream just before, like, that moment of impact, if you've fallen or something like that, and feeling like a really strong urge to do it because it was in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that might be a silly anecdote, but, it kind of made me think, well, what if they're telling the truth?
Candyman
that's
got
what my
me too.
Oh, really? The Candyman?
I was like, I go to the bathroom and be like, can't look in the mirror. Don't say it, Jesse. Don't do it, Jesse.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a waking dream, right, in our minds, I think is so interesting because the dream is kind of like the brain unleashed. And so if a movie tells you that the unleashed brain can actually kill you if you die in your dream, I guess my 13-year-old mind didn't see a conflict with that theory being a possibility. Like your 13-year-old mind or 10-year-old mind told you if you looked in the mirror the wrong way, you might evoke something that you had not had any experience with before. Either way, you probably weren't doing it.
Yes.
But it became a reality that you began to maybe practice things differently based on what you had seen. Because there's something in your resonance at that age, at least for mine at that age, told me I need to not get trapped into some nightmare Freddy Krueger-like experience. I need to wake up. If I'm falling from a cliff, I need to wake up before I land, and that's that when you sit up out of your sleep and you maybe have to scream to wake yourself up, or you have cold sweats. You know, we've all had that kind of dream experience that when we woke up, we were either sobbing because we're feeling a grief or relief, or angry because we were fighting something, or in fear because we were experiencing something, you know, from our subconscious mind, I guess, which can be a frightening place if you believe the psychiatrist. You know?
Mm-hmm. So true, so true.
Hello?
Yay!
Hey!
Hey. All right. Yeah, I feel you totally. Okay. Hello, Jeffy. Hi, Jay.
Hey, good evening, good evening.
No, you know, but they say
crack-a-lackin'.
Oh, well, not too much, man. Just happy past 4th of July or whatever. But anyway, you know, they say that those dreams, you know, they have meanings. You know, if you fall from, you know, a cliff, it means something. If you lose your teeth, it means something. If you're being chased by something, it means something. You know, they have books and websites and whatnot that will give you some kind of area that, oh, you need to focus on this, or you're afraid to face blah blah blah. You know, you don't want to be left alone, or some, you know, stuff like that. But I think that the worst thing about, yeah, you know, the symbolism of it. But the thing is, as a child, if the dreams that you're having all the time are, you know, the most vivid ones are the terrifying ones, then what does that say? You know, like if you know, like for me, for instance, if I fall asleep on my back, I automatically have a nightmare. I purposely try to make sure I do not sleep on my back because it always goes bad. So, you know, it's been like that since I've been a child. Even as an adult, it still happens. So, you know, it's just, you know, it can be fun for some people, and for other people, it's just like, oh, please, just don't let me remember what's going on tonight. You know, so it's just one of those.
I think that that's one of the interesting things because, you know, as a child, there's like dreaming. Dream big, you know, envision your future. You too can do it. What do you dream of being when you grow older? We ask that, right? But then in kids, a lot of things you remember. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. A lot of the things that you remember as a child are the nightmares that you used to have. You know, you may be actually living in the dreams you had as a child of yourself. Maybe you're living your career dream or your relationship dream as a child. But you can surely remember the fear in your heart of whatever your little favorite nightmare was. You know, whatever, a lot of kids have vivid recollection of the dream, like what is your dream boogeyman, you know. I think each of us could probably share what our reoccurring nightmare was as a child. Even into our adulthood, there might be things that we dreamed of that still could scare us as adults and take us back to that fearful place. I think a lot of that is just because kids are really dealing, at that age, we're dealing with a world that is very scary to us. But I also think that our veil between, say, the brain's partitions of realities are also thinner because a child's mind is more creative and not constrained by society telling you, well, no, this is not possible. You know, the monsters are as real as the beautiful dreams that say you could be an astronaut. You know, for a child's mind, they're unleashed more.
I can see that.
Very interesting.
What's your take on it, Jesse?
Well, my take is that, you know, the bottom line is we're creators. I mean, life is but a dream. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. And it's true. So it's up to us to look at the crap that we're bringing up in our lives and heal it so we don't have to roll through a bunch of crap in the stream. and we can, clear it out and live the dream that we want to live. But if we're controlled by the fears and the other things that are all revolving in our outer atmosphere, then we're going to live what is being swirled around us in our outer atmosphere. And it's up to us to recognize what is actually really going on. So that's the key. Whether you're actually literally like laying down in your bed and going to sleep and reliving the same dream over and over and over and over and over and over, whether you're laying on your back and you go to sleep and that's what happens, it's awareness that brings that light to what is really causing that crap to happen. So it's time to come back and take control of our life and see what it is that we want to experience. Am I way out of line here, or am I on point?
No, I'm okay.
I would agree to that aspect of it because, like you said, dreams are symbolic as much as you want to assign symbolism or receive symbolism that it gets assigned to what you experienced when you have that dream. I believe the mind is all powerful, and we only have the ability to recognize a portion of what it does. It's doing more than what we have the ability in our current consciousness to experience. It's extra dimensional to us. So that it's operating and it's still doing. It's when they say that our brain is dormant, 90% or whatever, we only use 10% of our. Well, no, we're using it. We just don't necessarily know what it's doing because we're not of the density to understand it. So if there's a time period, either during a dream state, when my brain can either do its Freudian logic or its spirit guidance or connection to those dimensions. Because there's a lot of things that people do in dream space. Like they'll receive healing and do metaphysical and have experiences of loved ones and connection to God's source and all kinds of exploratory journeys, astral travel and projection. And then there's things that are really symbolism that is telling you your higher self or something in your brain, or some of it could be brain-based, some of it could be higher spiritually based. I think it's up to the experiencer to learn to discern the difference between the two kinds of things that can occur for them. It may be more than two. Those are just the two that I tend to contrast when I experience dreams myself.
Right. So, really, to me, it's like it really is. We make it way more complex than it really is. Like, so our physical reality, it feels a certain way, like there's a certain construct that creates our reality in our physical world. And so, our belief systems, play the architectural part in what creates what we actually experience. So if we have certain beliefs that are confining and constrictive and fearful, then we are going to experience, something along that sort, whatever that manifests. And so it's up to us, which we are going through right now, an awakening that creates awareness that shows us this truth, that we are in complete control of whatever we want to experience. And the reason that is so is because belief and belief structures are what creates the manifestation of our reality, hence the dreams. The dream states are automatic. It's boom, boom, boom. It's straight to the point. You think it and it happens. And that's to me is like, okay, so from that point, where do we go? We realize what our power is. We recognize if we have fears within us, that's not our true nature. Our true nature is fully love. Our true nature is fully expansive and emanating light. We are light. We are light beings. Without light, there would be no physical world. And so we are light beings. Am I saying too much?
Okay, hold on.
To digest
hold
right
on
now?
Okay. So back up for me. Like, make this a real-world example to a person who has just woken up in the morning time and they experienced, I don't know what they experienced, but they want to observe that they experienced something while they were asleep. Instead of just sleeping through the night, they experienced a recollection of some kind of activity that they were involved in.
Mm-hmm.
So what is, apply the theory of Jesse to that moment when that person wakes up? Because I heard a lot of words, right? But I don't.
Right. Okay. So let's find an example so we can actually bring it to earth. So let's keep it real simple. Let's say
I dreamed that I was walking through a living room and there were snakes all around my feet that I had to dodge to get out of the house. And I quickly hopped myself through that place and out the back door and woke up like, oh, my God, I just escaped a pit of snakes.
Yes.
Let's say that. So that's a dream. Some people might be like, well, that was no big deal. I just had a crazy dream last night, and then they go to work. The other person might go to the dream dictionary and say, well, snakes means there's somebody in your environment who is talking about you behind your back. And then they might go on a journey to go find out if somebody's talking about them behind their back. Or they might then start to look around like, oh, my God, am I getting ready to run into a snake? Let me be more mindful of my feet. Like what happens with post-dream?
Okay, so you hit on a great point because you showed a lot of different personal experiences. Like you showed one person who would say, let's go to the dream dictionary. You would say another person does this, another person does this. And all of those are correct, is where the power lies. Because if we understand that the way that we choose to interpret whatever it is that's going on in our lives is exactly what perpetuates and amplifies our actual experience, whether it's in the dream state or our physical world, it's all just different forms of consciousness. I know that might seem abstract, but our physical world is just as abstract as the dream state. It's just that our physical experience is on a more dense level. So what you're actually saying from the Jesse point of view is whatever it is that we view something at or view something as is how we're going to experience it.
So if it was an omen to you in your belief system, then you will experience it as an omen. If it was nothing in your belief system, then you will experience it as nothing. Remarkable.
Exactly.
It fits within the construct of your personal. Okay, I understand that better. What about you, Kim?
Yeah, I was following here and there. It started getting a little complex here and there, but I understand overall what y'all are talking about.
But it is very simple.
Well, then they say it can be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. Isn't that a little Beyonce song, right? So that's the truth, I guess, of it. I will say this, okay. I have sleep apnea, and it was undiagnosed for a long time except by my incessant snoring. I'm sure my ex-husband could attest to it. It was terrible. But I also experienced during that time very, very vivid dreams. Now, at the time, I was not into, like, the topics that are more metaphysical like I am now. But so I had a lot of very vivid nightmares, and then I learned that was a hallmark of the sleep apnea because you're not necessarily getting to the full restful place that the brain normally gets to during sleep. So there's an alertness that is present because part of the body is staying awake to keep you from choking to death. So that might be why my dreams were way more vivid, because as soon as I treated it, I began to be very restful for me at night at the time, which was great. But then when I started, a couple years ago, getting into more meditation and spirituality and talking and learning things about dream and ability to communicate with, your higher self and to astral travel and all those kinds of things, I found myself, reaching out for teaching from people like Jesse and other healers, because I felt like I couldn't get to dream recollection, because I was sleeping too well. I was just way too deep in it to recall on a daily basis. So what I found is that really just the thing that I heard over and over again was to just set your intention when you go to bed, that you will recall your dream, and that you will, if you want to, or that you won't recall your dreams if you know you're going to have nightmares because you really got something on your mind that you're going to be chewing through. Then you tell yourself, you know what, we're going to take care of it, and I don't want to remember it in the morning. It's all going to be all good, So I had to do things differently, and I think, Kim, that's why you dream more when you're on your back, because you're probably having little mini sleep apnea moments. So your dreams are breaking through.
That's a distinct possibility, but nonetheless, I don't like going through it because some of them are really messed up. Just really messed up. As a kid, I remember being chased by a dark figure that you couldn't make out, but it was like an overgrown baby. It must have been 7 feet tall compared to my, 7 or 8 year old self, chasing me around. And every time I thought I'd get safe, then I hear it come again. I'm not going to talk about the time I woke up with something sitting on my chest, because that's just another conversation altogether. So, there's just, I don't like going through it.
Well, actually, hold on. Let me pause there, because I read articles. There is a whole thing about sleep paralysis, the feeling of something sitting on you. There were movies made about it to scare you back in the 80s and whatever, but they were saying that over, I think it is in China, there is a large percentage of the population that experiences these night, I forget what they call it. It's a different term, but it's that same thing of a figure or presence or a weight that's distinctly not just a void, but it's a shape, which is what causes them to be more fearful because that. But it's a phenomenon that's happening, and I'm sure it's something, it's not anything that I think is a negative. It's just being more prevalent now that we have the connections to be able to share that, yes, this has happened to me too. Yes, I've woken with a feeling of being unable to move but seeing then figures around me, or, all that stuff is I believe the mind unleashed. And the fear is because we're not normally aware of those things that are happening. But maybe there's a part of our mind that is aware of the extra-dimensional beings, angels even, or beings around you. Maybe that part of your intellect, because we get afraid, that's why we don't experience it. It's maybe protective.
Well, check it out. I'd like to share my thought on this because, okay, so our physical world is it's like the most concrete experience that we have. So our dreams are in more of a fluctuation of frequency. Can y'all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I was hearing some feedback. And so there's different levels of experiences that we have when we're in the dream state. So even scientifically speaking, when you're in the REM and the alpha state and the beta state and all these different, there's measurable frequencies that our brain is operating at. And really it's not just our brain, it's our whole entire being. Our brain is not isolated. It's connected to our whole being. So when we're in these different dream states, these different frequencies, we're able to move from different states of being. And so like a lot of times people will wake up and they're just restless and feel like they slept, 12 hours but didn't get any sleep because they were stuck in a certain frequency, a certain realm of sleep or a certain reality that did not bring them to a more fully connected experience of frequency that rejuvenates you. It re-energizes you. When you go into higher frequencies, it actually rejuvenates you. Does that make sense?
When you go into higher, you mean lower. You're
okay,
saying
well,
when you go into lower, like when you go into, I'm sorry, what?
I said I may be off on, and okay, so I would like to say everything that Jesse said, take with a grain of salt because I'm not a scientist, so I'm just kind of like taking the information that I have.
No.
And if I say higher, then it might mean lower, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's really,
no,
it's
you
about
said
frequency,
lower at first. You did say lower as you go lower and lower. That's why I was wondering. I was making sure that I was clear. And I've seen those where you can do meditations purposely to help you and listen to tones of those same frequency to match the brain wave, whether they call it deep delta, theta, all those frequencies that you're talking about. I have heard and seen information about that,
Yes.
And if you're in
that's
REM, that's what, higher frequency. So there's still a lot of higher STEM activity happening, brain processing, which is where it's not as restful versus deeper down.
I mean, and that's okay. So everybody's listening, do your own research. But I'm giving a very this is like I say, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Is kind of to trigger some of the thoughts that you can have about your own experience in the dream state. But basically, it's all frequency. It's all vibration. So when you're in I don't know what it is. It's higher. It's lower. I don't know that. But what happens?
Somebody Google it, call it.
Yeah, check it out. Google it up. Call us up. Give us some information, please. But from my perspective, the more connected we are to everything that is, the cliche saying the more at one we are, the more access we have to more energy to rejuvenate us. So whatever that state is, I don't know what it, the scientific term or whatever it is, but, okay, so the astral realm, there's an astral plane, you go from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. There's different, octaves of reality. The fourth dimension is really a collective experience. It's etheric. It's not all physical, but you're in a bunch of energy soup. You know what I'm saying? And it's still a lower, more dense frequency, but it's not as dense as the physical. So you're able to have the energies of more fear, more contractive type of energy, more controlling energies. So if you stay in that realm, you're not going to be rested. It's just not going to happen. And all this information is really important because when you have awareness of what it is, then you're able to actually say, hold on a second. With your consciousness, I don't want to be here anymore. And you make a choice. And that's how powerful we are. As soon as we make a choice, hey, I want to move on from here. I want to see some angels. I want to see some beautiful lights. Whatever it is that you desire to experience, move to that now. And boom, as soon as you say it, it's done. That's how powerful we are. And you move into a different frequency.
You switched over from being the one being dreamed at to the lucid dreaming is what I have heard it referred to, where there is a cognizance, an understanding that comes into direct then the outcome of the dream. Master and commander, so to speak. I'm out of this moment. This scenario has changed. I'm going to observe it detachedly for as long as you're it's maintaining a state of awareness. I've heard there's exercises and things that you can do to and practices such as, you know, keeping a dream journal to become more lucid in your dream, and to that it's just like practicing in it to become more aware, especially as a tool to combat recurrent nightmares, to, you know, do that pre-sleep planning to say, in this moment I'm going to become aware and I'm going to take control and I'm going to do boom, boom, boom. And it is not going to continue to disrupt me from night to night.
Yes.
You know, I
and
think
that's such Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was saying that's, you know, that's coming into a certain kind of power, you know, over, you know, not letting the brain run rampant over ourselves. And if there is an issue that's causing us to have a recurrent tension that is displaying in a dream state, to give that further thought and go ahead and see everything repetitive, whether it's a dream or a situation or a challenge or a statement, is something that's supposed to get your attention. It doesn't matter the format, message, or medium. It's there repeating because you're not seeing something. Hello, 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 hello. So if it's a repetitive dream, then it's also something to be heeded and given deeper introspection to.
And I really I'm loving this topic because it opens up so many different realms of all the things that we talk about on the show, like the conspiracy, you know, the quote unquote conspiracies, you know, the beings, the energies that desire to have control, you know, they seek a certain frequency. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have a certain fear, and I'm going to just surround this whole topic with love and light, and there's nothing that can penetrate this other than truth. So I'm going to knock that out right now. So anything that is, you know, has the intention to control is going to go and be seeking out any kind of fear, because you're relinquishing your power when you go into fear. And this applies to your dream state. This applies to your physical reality. It applies to every place in consciousness that you experience, no matter what it is. You could be on psychedelics. You could be in a dream state. You can be in your normal, everyday physical reality, or what you call that. If you have the awareness, and this is what waking up is. This is what this whole show is about. Are we yet asleep? Are we, you know, what state of experience do we really want to experience? Do you want to be in power, or do you want to live in the construct of all these different belief systems that create a reality that is conducive for you to be controlled and you to be in a place of fear? And it's not anything to be afraid of. It's just a matter of being aware of when you feel contracted. This is your Geiger. This is your control system. This is your control board. Hey, I'm feeling a little contracted here. What is really going on inside of me? You know, why am I feeling fearful right here? You ask these kind of questions, then what automatically emerges is a higher state of awareness. And when you have a higher state of awareness, then you're able to make conscious, powerful choices about what kind of experience you actually want to have, no matter if you're in a dream state, in the physical reality. These are all just different frequencies, and we have the choice through our awareness to make and create whatever we want to experience. Holy moly. I just said a lot, and I was listening to every word that I just said. I promise you, I was listening to every word.
Right. I was listening too. We're powerful creators, right?
Yeah.
Powerful beyond measure. That's definitely true. Creating our own dreams and our own nightmares. We are going to extend a little bit longer on our show this evening since we got a late start. Probably, I think we're looking to see if we can do about another 15 minutes. If you want to get on tonight, give us a call at 347-989-8851 as we will head into our last segment here. Dreams, nightmares, and being in control of it, whether it's in your permanent physical, fleshly reality or in your mental and spiritual and etheric reality. Coming at it from all angles. I know that, dreaming can be a powerful thing. There's a tool right now that has become very popular that is doing a vision board, and vision board, if you've heard or seen of the movie The Secret, which was very popular a few years ago. They talk about creating an actual board and placing on it images that help you recall the feelings of what your dreams are. Like put words and visions and scenes and goals and whatever it is that gives you the feeling associated, not the physical thing per se, but whatever gives you the feeling of, that you're hoping to obtain with your education maybe, or with the place that you want to live. Whatever evokes in you, you create a collage of it so that you can visualize it every day and keep it in your vision and send your energy and intention into it to help you then manifest that into your life. So that is nothing but, I guess, a dreaming tool using a very specific kind of brain function and association to act as a conduit for people. I know Oprah really got into it big, and it became a rage. I know there are people who do vision board gatherings and workshops and stuff to help you kind of use that tool, and I'm sure they have a lot more information than what I just gave because, again, it's just a tool for approaching dream, and maybe for other people it's putting together some kind of business plan. Maybe that's the way that their dream comes together for them. And then they work towards that to manifest their vision. Maybe for others it was writing a story as a child that turned out to be something that they manifest in their adult life, right? Dreaming happens in all kinds of ways. And I think that some of it is making sure that you have, like, the ability to put down belief structures, belief systems to say, no, I can get to the moon. I don't care if nobody ever invented it before. I can do it. And there are kids who are doing that today and creating amazing things. Well, there are adults, too, who do that every day, who envision something. Almost everything we use in our reality today is something someone else dreamed in a creative space, from the cars we drive to the chairs we sit in to the clothing that we engineered that we wear. That's somebody's envisioned reality.
Yeah.
Levi started as a guy doodling, like, how can I wear some work jeans, right? And next thing you know, you're like the number one jeans because you had a vision of that.
Apple and Steve Jobs.
Right. The dream made manifested changes dimensions, right? I get what you're saying, Jesse, right?
True. All right, so let's take our break since we ain't took our break yet, and we'll come on right back. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll be back in a minute. I think
we keep on going. And I mean, it's been an interesting conversation. I'm ready to call it in for the night, quite honestly. It's been a heavy conversation. It's been quick. This has been Arietta Sleep, and I'm Miss J. And Jesse, Kim, I appreciate y'all tonight We're going to have a lot to digest about the dreamscape, and I'm sure it won't be our last conversation about the topic.